Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is KIKAN here with another video. Just wanted to talk to you guys about Samsung's Unpacked event today. They announced all their new phones. I just want to give you a little bit of my opinion on it, so I'm going to get straight to the point. First thing they announced today was the Galaxy Z Flip. This is kind of like the Motorola Razr of smartphones, where it folds in half and it has a screen in the middle that just folds. Not my favorite form factor. I think foldables work when it is a tablet size that turns into a phone size. I think the phone that turns into a smaller rectangle, especially when the front screen just literally has a notification screen, it's not very interactive. Not my favorite. I do think it's way better, miles above the Razr phone though. Definitely. Razr decided to, stick with the nostalgia of it and just kind of try to keep that same form factor, make the same phone but with a bigger display. And the truth is, everybody moves on, technology moves forward, can't live in the past. You do have to move forward with the times, and I think Motorola thinks that maybe people are kind of stuck in the past with that. You can get the same satisfying click or closing the phone to end a call with pretty much any foldable device. You could just program it to do that. So I don't think it's the best form factor. That's just my opinion. So cool thing about this phone though, so again, it is a 6.7-inch screen, so it is a really big phone actually, so folding it might be a little beneficial, but Samsung didn't stick with some pointless, outdated design. They actually just made it look more like their Galaxy line, more sleek, more modern. It does come in multiple colors, so you do have mirror purple, mirror black, and some locations will have a gold color that's going to be available. As far as the screen, the cool thing between this and any other foldable device, even ones that Samsung have made before, is actually that it comes with a ultra thin foldable glass, is what Samsung is calling it. Essentially, it's supposed to be a lot tougher than just plastic, because all foldable screens are made of plastic, which means you can indent them even with your nail. So I'm actually really curious to see what this phone is going to end up being like, the durability of it. I have a certain fear that if you slam it too, shut too hard, if it is really actually glass or a flexible glass, what are the odds of shattering your phone just from closing it too hard? So I guess we'll have to wait and see if any news reports come out about that. It is rated for 200,000 folds, so it should last you a pretty good amount of time. I don't think a lot of people are going to be getting a phone like this. Most people are probably going to stick with the traditional form factor, but it's really cool to see early adopters of this technology, just to, that way Samsung can, of course, keep pushing it forward. So I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see. I do like that it has a hole punch camera, so you do get a selfie camera, unlike the Razr phone. And the hinge is supposed to be, it's actually really cool. So it's a flex mode hinge. Basically, you can open it at different angles. It doesn't just snap open and snap shut. You can actually, it has different degrees that you can open it at. And when it's at 90 degrees, you can actually use the bottom half of the phone as a different part of the phone as the top part. So now you can have, like watching YouTube on one part and then commenting on the other, or basically split the functions of each app separately. You could, I guess, do multi-window as well, so probably have two apps running at the same time. I do see some use to this, mostly in what they were showing about maybe recording yourself or doing a time lapse or things like that, where you can place the phone down and it's at an angle so it just stands itself up. I don't think I would necessarily hold it open like that while I'm using it, unless I would probably use that variable, I guess, just to have it tilted a little bit more toward me to avoid some glare from the sun or things like that. The hideaway hinge that they have, so supposedly, because Samsung had a problem with dust getting into their hinge before, this is supposed to be more dust and sand resistant. They didn't necessarily say that it is dust proof. They just said that they have fibers within the gaps between the phone and the hinge, because it leaves a gap every time you open and close it. And they said that they added some fibers in there that can help keep dust out, but they didn't necessarily say it is dust proof. Whether or not they end up giving it a rating or anything like that, I don't know. The phone is going to be available February 14th, so it is a total of $1,380. Definitely more affordable than the Galaxy Fold, definitely more affordable than the Razr. you should probably, if you have a girlfriend or a wife, you should probably take them out to a nice dinner. It's Valentine's Day, and that's all I have to say about that. I think it's very interesting that Valentine's Day is the day that they chose. So next phones that they announced, Galaxy S20, S20 Plus, S20 Ultra. We're kind of going to talk about them all at the same time. They are very similar devices with a few key differences, like in the display, battery, and okay, even the camera, I guess, and the price, of course. So as far as the phones go, the S20 and the S20 Plus have different size screens. You get a 6.2 inch screen on the smaller one. The Plus gets a 6.7 inch Quad HD screen. There is a 120 hertz refresh rate on that. Now, as far as Samsung, because I feel like they are very Apple-like now in their product launches, where they start to just blab and give names and talk about stuff, but I feel like we just need specs and we need what actually is. A lot of it it's very fluffy in the way that it's presented. So 120 hertz refresh rate. They doubled the touch sensitivity of the screen, so it's 240 hertz touch response. But right after the announcement, I actually went over on YouTube and just started looking at some initial reviews of reviewers that get the products in their hands ahead of time. And I'll give credit to MKBHD for this. Because this is the channel that I saw it on, he said basically it's 120 hertz refresh rate at 1080p screen, and then if you want it at, Quad HD, it's going to be 60 hertz. Now, I don't understand that, because you could have 120 hertz at 1080p. Okay, if you really want to give up the resolution, that's cool. And I know some people will say, you don't notice the resolution. You do. Like between Quad HD and 1080p, you actually do notice. It's not like it should bother you that much, but it's noticeable. I think what they should have done, sure, make it 1080p for 120 hertz, put a 90 hertz option in there to maybe like meet me in the middle of, hey, I can't have 120 hertz at Quad HD, but why not 90 hertz? Why not just do that? I think that actually would have been cool. They could technically do that through software updates and enable that, so that's not a big deal, but it just shocked me a little bit. The touch sensitivity, again, is going to improve the feel of the phone, how fast it feels when you're playing games, even the response time of your fingers touching the screen or dragging on a screen. So that is actually a good improvement. As far as battery life goes, they say all-day battery. It's kind of vague. I mean, everybody uses their phone different. Basically, all you need to know is there's 4,000 milliamp hours on the S20 and 4,500 on the S20 Plus. So they both have 25 watt fast charging and both have wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, a power share. As far as the cameras in the front, 10 megapixel cutout in the middle of the phone. Middle is way better than on the sides. We all agree on that. As far as the back cameras go, this is where you start to see some differences between the S20, S20 Plus, and the Ultra. So the S20 and S20 Plus have the exact same camera specs in the sense that they have a regular wide 12 megapixel main shooter, and it is f1.8. Then they have a ultra wide 12 megapixel f2.2, and then the telephoto is a 64 megapixel sensor, which again, if you want that really nice 64 megapixel camera, I guess you do have to crop in a little bit on the picture. I would have probably put that in the wide. That's just me. You do get the option to crop, so maybe they just wanted an extra zoom on that. You do get 10 times zoom or 30 times zoom, sorry, on the phone, and on the Ultra up to 100 times zoom. The difference between the S20 and S20 Plus is going to be that you do get a depth sensor on the camera units, where the S20 just has the 3 lenses. And then same thing with the S20 Ultra. The only difference is that 64 megapixel sensor is supposedly 100 megapixels or 108 megapixels. Seems interesting, but not all that useful unless, I mean, it is cool for cropping. They did say that you can crop into pictures and things like that, which is pretty useful, but at the same time, I don't know how many people are going back and actually cropping the pictures that much. So as far as the pictures in low light, I forgot to talk about this. They have 9:1 pixel binning using AI, which is cool because it gives the pictures 3 times more light. So supposedly night mode is supposed to be killer on this. Besides that, again, the 100 times zoom on the cameras, I think it will make for really cool pictures, especially if you're trying to take like silhouettes with the big moon or things like that, like people standing on a hill, something like that. It might end up working and you're taking that picture on a phone. That's actually awesome. And you have the ultra wide, so I don't think there's a reason to criticize Samsung for including like a super zoom. because they also included the ultra wide. So I think it's cool that they're giving it to us. Now, something that they stressed a lot in this is 8K video. I was actually really frustrated at Samsung for this because although, yeah, 8K, that's awesome. Yay, it's the future. Okay, cool. A phone that can shoot 8K 24 frames a second. You can take any still frame, turn it into a 33 megapixels. For a still frame, you can print that pretty big. Cool. But how many people are actually going to use that? You know how much space it's going to take on your phone? I know that they come with big storage, but what I wanted them to cover is, did you upgrade the 4K stats on that? Like, can it shoot 4K 60 frames a second on all 3 lenses and the front? Like, can it do that? Because they stressed 8K, 8K, 8K. I go and look at their website. I try to look at some early reviews. There's no mention as to any other video specs. And I just hope that this is not Samsung covering up the fact that they didn't improve anything else and they just made it available to record 8K. The other thing is, what's the time restriction on the 8K? I guess we'll find out. As far as the processor goes, they all have that Snapdragon 865 processor, which is, of course, the latest and greatest. It's going to be awesome. RAM starts at 12 gigabytes. You can even go up to 16 gigabytes. And this is Samsung's LPDDR5. So it's supposed to be like really efficient, really good, really fast. Let's see if it makes a huge difference in real world performance. As far as memory, you can have up to 1.5 terabytes of storage on a phone like this. And I bring this up because everybody's talking about the price and is it worth the price? Expandable storage, you can get up to 1 terabyte of a memory card, 500 gigabytes physical storage. You can literally pack this phone. Like you don't need cloud with this, which probably like Samsung could make more money just using the cloud, I guess, or if people were storing stuff on their cloud services, but you don't need it because you can have 1.5 terabytes. So the S20, you get 128 gigabyte storage, and the S20 Plus, you can get 128 or 512, and the S20 Ultra is a little bit different. I believe it's 256. As far as the cell signal for each phone, they are all 5G compatible. Now they did push that a lot. I don't think 5G is a selling point yet, especially when no carrier really has like reliable good that you could say, wow, this is way faster 5G. Like they kept giving examples of how you could be on an airplane and forgot to download an episode of something at the airport and then you just go ahead and download it. As of right now, I don't know any airport that has 5G. Could be wrong, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I talked about pricing. So the S20 starts at $999. S20 Plus is $1,199, so $1,199, so $1,200. And the S20 Ultra, which a lot of people are talking about this, that it's so expensive, it's basically $1,400. And it's actually 256 gigabytes, expandable storage. Yes, but look at the specs. I mean, this phone is tricked out. 5,000 milliamp hour battery. This phone will last a day and then some. Like it's a great phone, $1,400. Samsung tends to price their phones really high, but they always discount them. So it's really not that big a deal, I think. You'll probably be able to get a good deal later on in a few months, or just take that trade-in value if they're giving you more for your phone than what it's actually worth, trade it in. I think basically you could even get the S20 for like $500 or something like that after trade-in. And so just go ahead and take a look at that. And then they also talked about the Galaxy Buds Plus. These are the upgraded Galaxy Buds. They have 2 speakers this time, so they have a tweeter and a woofer or a bass. It's supposed to separate those frequencies and make it a lot more enjoyable to listen to music. Give more detail, not necessarily like, hey, it's louder, it's actually better sound. It has 3 microphones now, so it's supposed to do better at catching your voice, and actually if you have ambient sound on, basically enhancing it so that you can hear more of what's around you while stuff is playing if you want to turn that on. They've improved switching between devices with the Galaxy Buds, so basically you can go ahead and switch from one device to another. You don't have to unpair or repair or things like that. It's supposed to make it more seamless. And then you do get wireless charging. They said 3 minutes. They didn't specify if it was 3 minutes of wireless charging. They just said 3 minutes will get you 1 hour playtime. The headphones are supposed to last 11 hours on a full charge, and then another 11 hours if you have the case, so 22 hours total. That's pretty cool. They are $149, and again, available February 14. I made a wrong assumption. Maybe they're thinking you'll buy it as a Valentine's gift for someone. So if you have a significant other, maybe that's the case. Maybe you want to buy them something cool. You order February 14th, say, hey, I got you some Galaxy Buds Plus. You're not going to get them until after Valentine's Day, but here you go. Here's a receipt. I don't know. So one of the coolest things I actually saw, I'm stepping aside from the hardware, is actually that they announced that they have a partnership with Microsoft where they're going to bring an Xbox partnership with Samsung. So you're going to be able to play like Forza Street and eventually hopefully more Xbox games, things like that. That's actually pretty cool, honestly. As something that is always being advertised as gaming devices, they're awesome for gaming. Having an Xbox partnership would be awesome. Apple built their gaming arcade. Samsung doesn't have to build anything. They just build this partnership with Xbox. Now you have a bunch of games. Anyway, so that's basically all the notes I have. That's my thoughts on the presentation and the new products. I wish that they would have just come out with an E edition, so an S20e. S20 would have been like the Plus model, and then an S20 Ultra. They should have come out with a budget model, but at the same time, again, they discount their phones so much. They're not like Apple that doesn't give discounts ever, which of course helps retain that value so the iPhones sell for better later on. But you can basically get them at a discount in just a few months or trade in your phone if they're giving you a better deal than what you would get selling it to someone. That's basically my thoughts. Let me know what you thought about this video. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell button as well, and go ahead and hit up the comment section. Let me know what I can improve, what you thought about the video, what you think about Samsung, what they're doing. Did you like the phones? Anyway, that's all for today. Hope you have a good one. Catch you next time.